Hi, this is Pacific Carrier Guy, and this is episode 0 of what I hope to be as a new Let's Play sort of tutorial. We are going to do the 1942 episode of Warplan Pacific, and as this is episode 0, we are going to go through, we're going to look at both sides, we're going to look and see what the starting positions and see some of the differences between the 41 start and the 42 start, and they're very telling. I want to say right away, I do criticize this game, and I'm going to make some criticisms of the 41 scenario. And we got to remember, this is 1.00. Okay. It's had a little hot fix, but that's all. This isn't some massive $80 game. So, and its subject material is very difficult to do. Just filling you in, I am using a modified units where I've changed their appearance. Uh, I like this look a little bit better. Okay, it's just something I like. But we're just going to go around, we're going to look a little bit and see what we can see. And the first thing I want to note, we'll look at production first off. Now, this is production in the 42 turn. By the way, the 42 scenario starts April 26th. So it's even before the Coral Sea. Japan has conquered most, and the game shows it. Japan has conquered. They've already done all their invasions. They're getting ready to do the Port Moresby invasion. They've conquered the Central Pacific. They're still in China. They've advanced into Burma. They've taken Rangoon. So it's really a good place to start because the Japan has done most of what they're going to do. By the way, we're going to be playing the Allies when we play, but Japan's done most of what they're going to do. But there's still all the big battles, all the big fights left. This, for if we were playing the 41 scenario that starts on December 7th, this would be turn number 11. So 10 turns have gone by, if you want to think of it that way. And you can look and you can see the Japanese production here. Uh, they they I, they did a they start with a lot more oil, but that makes sense because they've conquered the Dutch East Indies and all the oil down here. They start with 180 transports, and that's about comparable to what they start with. The same thing for the merchants. Everything here is about the same. The one thing I do question is the number of landing ships. That is enough to land 24 divisions. Now, if you assume, and I calculated this out, you can do your own, buy the game, do your own calculations. That if you assume all they used and invaded was what they do at the beginning of the turn, they don't do anything else. Japan took a turn and a half and where they did not reinforce anything and just built landing ships to get to this number. That to me seems really high. I don't think they should start with 24. Being able to land 24 divisions. I think, how about 12 divisions? I think that number should be cut in half. Okay. Uh, When you look at their deployment screen, this is where, in my opinion, things get a little honky, a little wonky here. This is the Japanese deployment screen for the 1941 scenario. And they produce the oilers. They deploy. Let's say they deploy the 15th Air. I don't know if it's on the board or not. They're getting the Shoho. Okay, that's already been it's April 26th. They got the Shoho. I don't know if they got the Coastal Group. I've I've seen the Shoho, and I've seen the CV group, and they're getting the Junyo and the Hayo and the Musashi. The rest the same. But then they're getting these two armies, and it doesn't tell me what how advanced they are. But if you look at an army's cost, even if it's the cheapest, that's 360. That's another turn and a half to produce those two armies and that's a turn and a half of not doing anything other. So you're talking 3 turns of production where you have not, if you're doing by the 41 scenario, and I don't, where you haven't produced anything. And we're going to talk more about the differences, but this is a fault in the game, in my opinion, that the creator has admitted that if you start the game in 41, you cannot, it is impossible to recreate these conditions. And supposedly, this is taken from the actual conditions of the war. And that to me says there's a fundamental flaw. There is a fundamental flaw when you start a 41 scenario and you cannot get to the 42 scenario. That to me indicates that there's something fundamentally wrong with the game, and we're going to see more specific of that. But anyway, Japan is here. They've advanced into Burma. And this is about their historical. This is about their historical advance, which tells you how much. I haven't seen a game yet that if they went up here in Lido, they can't get. And I've already got a video showing the how bad the 41 scenario sets up India. But if they won up here, they should. But they never did get up here. So that tells you a little bit about how bad the 41 scenario is. Uh, uh, you look at China here, and the first thing I notice is there's that army, and there's this army, and there's that army. 3 armies. Everything else on this map is divisions. If you go look at China here, this is the 1941 start of China. And again, it's got a lot of divisions. Here's an army. There's an army. There's an army. So it's got about the same, but it's to me, it looks like it's got a lot more divisions. And the reason there's not as many divisions here is look at all these divisions, putting all these, doing all these ports. You've got quite a bit of garrison force here in the Philippines. You got a big garrison force here. You got all the ports took up here, and that's kind of historical. The Japanese army, first off, the Soviet border army is the same, and Japan did historically they stripped these units of tanks, big artillery guns, that kind of thing in order to reinforce other areas. But they would not move this army because the Soviet Union was their historical enemy. So that they would not strip it. And they did not have a big enough army to invade and garrison and do all the stuff they wanted to do. So they pulled units out of China. In fact, when in about this time period, Japan was trying to decide, actually a little bit before this time period, Japan was trying to decide where do we go because they had already conquered all this. Do we go over here to Midway? Or do we go down here to Australia? Do we go into India? What do we do? What do we do? The army said they did not want to invade Australia because they knew it would take at least 10 divisions and they did not have 10 divisions. Uh, so I kind of like how this is set up with all the. Now, you may say, well, if you're playing the 41 scenario, you'd want to do the same thing. You'd want to garrison all these units down here, and you'd want to garrison the Philippines and garrison Borneo. And why? Why? These islands down here. That's one, two, three, four, five divisions. I would rather take these five divisions, invade India in, let's say, February. Well, I know I can get there February 15th, February 1st, February 15th, and make the Allies fight here. Because, or even if I don't do this, take all these ports. If they're going to come invade, make them go all the way around here, or make them come all the way around here. By the way, Australia has its own Bombay problem, not as badly, honestly, because they've got two different ports here. But Australia does not start the game with enough units. They can't cover any of this. They can't cover any of that. And they can't cover all this, all these ports, and Canberra down here. They can't cover it all. They leave two. The best they can do is they leave two size 2 ports open. And the problem with that is that means Japan can invade and move in the port with no problem. And a size 2 port, two size 2 ports, that's 20 supply, okay, or that's 40 supply each. That's 80 supply total. That's 6 full strength divisions and an air group. Australia, I can't remember the numbers they start with. I think it's 8 divisions and their HQ. So why do I want to tie my units up here and well, when the Allies get their forces together, they can move through quicker. Well, number one, I'm going to be here. If they don't fight here, they ain't going to have, they're going to be coming, at best, are going to be coming from these bases. Okay. Number two, if I'm invading here in February, I'm invading here in February. I can be here at the end of January. So I've got uh, March, April, and even part of May. And all I got to use is transports. I don't have to use landing craft. All I got to use is transports to transport units to these places. And these islands, these are all, now they're airfields, okay? And now that's important because an allied player could put an air unit here and it would kind of dominate this whole area. Because with a range of 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, you see it. 1, 2, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. See, you can count yourself. It would really dominate this area. So that is a concern. But a size port 1, that means he's putting an air unit there and he's not putting anything else. He can't put an air unit and a land unit because that air unit, if he's putting an understrength air unit, okay, then it's not going to do as good. He's going to need a good strength air unit. That's 20 strength. He doesn't have enough. He doesn't have enough supply. Notice that this is only a supply, number 2. We're going to talk about that because I think this is one of the faults in the game. Uh, 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 but that's why I say, why? Why am I Why am I wanting hold all these size ones? They're not that important. And we're going to talk about that. See, that's two strength, two strength, one strength, two strength, two strength, two strength, two strength. All these one strength, two strength. They're two. There's no way for the player to build these. That's a problem. There's no way for the player to get. The only way you can get these is if you built up a full strength, 10 strength division, sent it into combat, got it damaged enough, and hurt enough till it was 2 strength, and then withdrew it out of combat and shipped it here. Other than that, you cannot get these units. Yeah, to me, and considering that this is a division supposedly level game, or not even, it's not even a division game, it's a corps and army level game. These units should not exist. I've suggested that you put an intrinsic defense that islands have, and these ports have a certain intrinsic defense to equal kind of a brigade or a regiment or something manning them. What I would really kind of like to see is do something like they do with escorts and call it garrison units, where Japan gets a certain number and has to build garrison points, and then you can decide, okay, and it wouldn't be a unit on the map, it would be an intrinsic defense, and where you could build island garrisons, and okay, I want 5 island garrison here, and oh, I want 10 island garrison there, and I think that'd be kind of neat. But that to me is another problem, that the game, in order to simulate World War II, the game relies on units that you as the player cannot build. That's a problem. That's a fundamental flaw. Uh, but then we looked at the Soviet border. It's kind of it's the same. Uh, the big change here, now the big change here really to the 42 scenario is not so much with the Japanese, it's with the Allies. And we're going to do them here in a minute, but I want to point out that the main Japanese carriers are up here. This game starts out set to do the Battle of Coral Sea and the Port Moresby invasion, because they've already got the invasion forces down here, and right here is, well, somewhere down here. Where's it at? Oh, maybe it's up here at Truck. Suzuku and the Shokoku with the Shoho, and these were the historical Japanese invasion forces. And if you're a Japanese player and you're going to do whatever you're going to do, don't split up your CVs. Bring your Kudo Batai, get all your 6 CVs together, and do it that way. This was an error in the war. This is an error in the game. I said it before and I'll say it again. There are 2 types of targets in the Pacific Theater, and there's only 2 types of targets. Those that are worth you sending all of your CVs, and those that are worth you not sending any of them. That's it. That's all there is. So we're going to go look at the allies because their allies are the real big difference in this start and in why this. I don't know. I ain't played it, but it has the potential of being much better than the 41 scenario. First off, Australia is completely different. This get you a picture here. This is Australia. There's no units. There's no Australian units above the line, above the picture. So this here shows the entire Australian units. They start with like 8 divisions and an HQ. They've got, I think they got 9 divisions, including one all the way over here. They've put the in Guard Cylon. Uh, they have enough now. There's still to me an error in that at least now they can cover most of their ports and Canberra. And the reason I mentioned Canberra is if Canberra is not covered, let me remove my units here. It is a main supply. In other words, you take it and you don't have to worry about getting supply from somewhere. It is a major, that 5 is a major morale center, okay? And it's a victory point. And if it's not covered, all the Japanese player has to do is land here. This is a beach, beach, beach. Land here, march into Canberra. So it's got to be covered. Okay. And in the 41 scenario, Australia does not have enough units to cover all their ports. Okay. And that's even this guy starts in Perth in 41 and even includes him pulling out here. Like I said on the Japanese turn, Japanese can land 6 divisions and a full-size air group and by just walking in. And now I don't know. I haven't timed it out. Do the Allies, can the Allies, if they started the 41 turn, could they really get 2 full-size divisions into Australia? And I don't know. I actually haven't timed it out. I'd have to go look because you got to look at, well, when do they get their divisions? And then it takes they move them to here. That takes a turn, and then they move them down here. So, let's just say they got here last turn. That would be April 12th. April 12th, they ended up here. March 29th, they ended up here. Do the Allies get 2 transports? And no, they don't. So right there is another thing. They get one on March 23rd. This is impossible. It can't be done from the 41 scenario. Also, again, getting prepared for the Battle of Coral Sea. You got the Allies have split their CVs up. Don't do this. Don't do this. Also, the California and the West Virginia are still damaged. The only, the only if you're starting the 41 scenario, you can have all the battleships repaired in 2 or 3 turns. They're still damaged. Maybe you say, well, yeah, but the United States didn't put that much towards. Uh, 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 by the way, naval units are repaired first, and maybe you can say, well, yeah, United States didn't put that much toward. Uh, I'm trying to reinforcements. Uh, I don't know. Uh, Looking at the United States deployment list, uh, you know, I noticed right away less transports. I don't know why. Like I say, this is from the 41 turn. Oh, that's UK. I'm sorry. Let's look at. Might help to look at the right one. Okay. Oh golly. Okay. Here we go. Okay. First off, let me make sure I got the right one. Yeah, I got the right one. Or did I? Yeah, this is U.S. deployment. Okay. Golly. Right away I notice May 12th, May 12th. Yeah, okay. May 12th, May 20th, and May 27th. It says times 10 there and times 10 here, but not here and not here. I'm assuming they're not going to get 100 transports. That will be interesting. If so, that will be a major. That's 1,000 production. No way. Okay, even the U.S. No way. Why that big of a difference? I could see them building a couple cores and a marine unit. Um, you know, the question I got is the transports. And was that May 20th? We'll, we'll look here and see. So the U.S. has some significant differences, uh, but nothing outrageous yet. Nothing outrageous. I production. I have a real this the production actually went down. This is the 41 scenario. This is the 42 or it went up, but in 10 turns, it only went up by a little bit, and that's no. Apparently, the game assumes from 41 for the 10 turns, the Allies did not use their fleet because they got a lot more oil. Uh, Only 4 merchants were sunk. They start the game at 47. Here they got 43, and that's kind of not realistic. They start the game with 30 transports, and I'm not sure if they can do that or not. Uh, but mostly it's not anything to make me want to. I do notice the communication intelligence points and specialties. Maybe you could say, well, they've already been spent. So that ain't, I can deal with it. It's not a killer, in my opinion. What is a killer, and what makes this scenario so much better, is look at India. Look at India. UK unit, UK unit, UK unit, UK unit. You got a UK Air Force down here. This has been brought up to the creator, and he admits, as UK, you could not build and get these units into India by April 26th. It's impossible. But this right here, you bring this unit down here, you put that in. If you want to strip him away, you put him right here. You've got 4 or 5 units here. You can pull another one of him away. All of a sudden, can Japan invade India? Yes, it's going to cost them. This is India in the 41 scenario. It can't, and this is what it should. This is what it should be in the 41 scenario. Yeah, Japan, you can invade India. It's still going to cost you. I still have a problem though with production goes through Bombay, or any allied aid goes through Bombay. There should be, and if I was doing it, I would put a little line here from a convoy going up here to Calcutta to represent the fact that or something else. I don't know. Convoy is something to show that hey, you've got to take more than Bombay to cut off India. So India, so this looks a lot better. Let me put it that way, okay? It looks significantly better as a game and as a World War II uh, simulation. I don't think Japan is gonna you're just not gonna move in. You're gonna have real difficulty if Japan invades India. That's the way it should be. Production. You want to pull out your hair? This is 41. Started December 7th, 41. The production went down. Well, they're shipping more out. Nope, they're not shipping anything out. Uh, I don't know what to tell you. I wish I did, but I do not know. I really don't know what to say. Merchant Marines up. That was a oops. I hit those buttons. By the way, will send you to different units. Uh, Looking at Merchant Marine, started with 105. They've still got 105, 12 escorts. They start with 20 transports. See, I think the Allies should start with transports anyway. But overall, you know, it looks okay. I don't really have a lot of problems with this, except for the fact they start with less production. That just again, if you've got a game and somewhere along the line I deleted the file that shows uh, again, I don't have a problem with any. This is pretty much the same. The only difference is the Fifth Corps. Sure, maybe they got together and took 3 turns worth of production, and the U.S. helped them, and they built a corps. Okay, I can do that. The Hermes is missing because by this time it was sunk, as was the Repulse and the Prince of Wales. So it really hurts Japan not having a CVL over here or a carrier, but it is historic. So it looks good. But like I said, Japan is going to have a real problem. They're not going to be able to advance as far into China. This is to me is at least is the start is much more historical. A much better start. It gives the Allies, number one, the Allies can defend Australia. Okay. Number two, the Allies can defend India. And these are things, now that, like I said, still need to fix Bombay, in my opinion. But hey, this is a good start. And it gives a reason, it gives the Japanese player a reason to garrison. Because the Allies have transports, they can move units. I hear this on the board sometimes. Well, if you take your fleet and you run it over here, the Allies will run ragged. Doing what? They don't get transports. They can't move these two divisions. I really don't think they can move two divisions by April 26th. So no, they're not. They're not going to run rampant and hamper me from doing anything. Uh, and I could move a unit. I guess what the Allies could do is the U.S. could put a fleet here of their CVs and hamper me from moving units here, but then I can move units here and invade. And by the way, if the Allies have a fleet here, they're spending oil. U.S. doesn't start with that much oil. Fine, eat up all your oil. The 41 scenario is just so completely broke. I want to play the AI and see if I can learn it. But at the same time, I really am interested in a play by email game because no human player can match what the AI does, and you really can learn more playing a human about how the game is going to work. Now, I'm really interested because this says we're going to get a transport and then 10 of them, and I want to see what exactly do we get. So we had like what do we have 20 or 30? See 10, 10. No, I think that's some kind of yeah. So why that's a bug. I'll go mention it. Uh, that it lists times 10 and here it is again. Why it does that, I don't know. But see, that's cool. By May, the U.S. can move 5 divisions. This is May 24th. That's what I'm saying. You're going to hamper me how? I've got time to garrison this. But now the Japanese got to be going, hey, wait a minute. If I don't garrison this, allies can move in. And that's the way the game should be. And my thing is, as a strategy, and this is the other thing, you really put our a World War II game that wants to simulate World War II and not be fantasy. See, that's the problem. The 41 scenario is fantasy. It's orcs, it's dwarves, it's elves, it's magic, and what some games and creators do, what they do is that well, we're going to create a World War II game, but we have to have bounce. So they want to bounce out the Japanese. And so what they do is, well, it's December 7th. We'll just give the Japanese 5 more aircraft carriers. So they start with 12. Well, that's not historical. The way you balance a game is in the victory points. You want the Japanese player, and that's the other thing. You want to make it where, Japan came down here for a reason. What was the reason? Oh, they had to have oil, so we'll put a bunch of oil down here. And that gets the Japanese player to do what the Japanese player did. That's the same thing. Yeah, okay, the Japanese player garrisoned all this. So you want the Japanese player to garrison it. You need to give him a reason. Give it. You need to give him a game reason, a game victory points. Give the Allies some transports where they can move up in there if he doesn't garrison it. That's how you do that. Uh, but anyway, so we it kind of looks a little bit better. It's gonna I'm gonna play as allies, and I have no idea what I'm gonna do. I'd be honest, I know. I think the first, I'll be honest, I think I want to take New Guinea and really the Solomons and build up my forces because the ultimate goal is to get the Philippines. That's the ultimate goal, really, honestly. All right, I think we're done. Uh, be looking for this AAR to start. Hopefully, I'll be able to get an episode out here in a couple days or a day or two. And on that, you guys have a good day.